As far as I know right now, this is probably going to serve as the final wrap-up of the impeachment saga, because we have all the fallout. As far as I could see, the riots were no worse than they have been in the cities that have supported it for, well, since, the end of May. So I look forward to celebrating their one-year anniversary the same time, or just a few months after we celebrate 15 days to flatten the curve. But with that said, the only thing that really came out of this is Big P and Mike Veen. He had his driveway vandalized. Okay? He also had some death threats and threats against himself and his family. We'll get to those in a second, but I got the pictures of it here. At least they were nice and they stayed on the city side of the... Oh, except for they got a little bit of the red spray paint on his own asphalt driveway, which looks like he's in a nice house. Like, the only thing that the leftists, when they were fucking melting down yesterday after the full acquittal... Oh, he's a ambulance chasing personal injury lawyer. He's so far out of his depths. Okay, is that supposed to be a slam on Trump for picking him? Or should it be a slam on you guys for a lawyer from the sticks whipping the living fuck out of 9 Ivy League educated former litigators? Who's supposed to be slammed in this one? But with that said, vandals targeted the home of one of former President Donald Trump's impeachment lawyers, spray painting the words traitor in red on his driveway in suburban Philadelphia. Vandalism occurred around 8 p.m. on Friday at attorney Michael Veen's residence in West Whiteland Township, or as he would say, West Whiteland Township. The dude's the best. I hope this isn't the last time we hear from him. In my opinion, I want him to be Attorney General in 2024. The man was savage. There's a clip going around from last night. He excoriated a CBS reporter for asking ridiculous questions. And this dude has been red-pilled in real time, realizing that there is some sketchy shit going on in the media. He is not being portrayed well. He's not being portrayed fairly, I should say. And he just went off. I'd play it for you guys, but please do search it out. It's a 7-minute long clip, and it's all worth your time. And I think I watched it like 3 or 4 times last night. It was just genius. At the end of it, he was just so mad. He just took off the lapel mic and just fucking spiked it down after making some brutal points on the CBS interviewer, whoever they have on the weekend news desk. That poor bitch was fed a question that she was not prepared for and received an answer that she was definitely not prepared for. But like I said, Veen is getting attacked, and I suppose, right there. I'll link to this article, but the videos of it's right there. He's receiving threats. His law firm's receiving threats. Family receiving threats. And I understated this quite a bit, or it just kind of slipped my mind, to be completely honest. I didn't think that the leftists, you guys literally have everything. You have the House, you have the Senate, you have the presidency. That's all you ever wanted, but it's never enough now, is it? Of course it isn't. You have to continue to destroy these people's lives. Veen did a great job of defending Trump, okay? But that's the thing, and that's something we'll circle around to at the end. Trump is just going to live over these guys for the next 4 years, especially ramping up to the midterms. And he's just going to loom so large over them. You might have, at this point, probably a year until the primary contenders start coming out, until all the races start heating up for the midterms before Trump actually becomes somebody that you'll have to consciously think of. But no, they just can't let him out of their heads. Listen, I give Biden a bunch of shit whenever he does something stupid, but I don't wake up first thing in the morning and go, oh, wow, I hate Biden. No, because I don't hate Biden. I've said that before. I don't hate him. I just hate his policies. I'm sure he was a nice guy. Like, he was a good speaker. And when he still had his marbles about him, I'm sure he would have been just a fun guy to do a round of golf with. He probably was an absolute pisser. He'd tell you some jokes about how you could babysit some black kids based on his previous speeches. But it's just my favorite meme that's going around right now is rent-free, and that is exactly what is happening to the people that are going after anybody who supports or defends Trump in any capacity. It happens in every comment section, in every video that you look for, in every article that you read, in every message board post, if we're still using that, if this is the fucking late 90s, Twitter, Facebook, even the positive stuff over on Gab and Minds, it's all politicized. Outside of this job that I do, I don't really think about politics that much. It's more or less, if you just look through my YouTube watch history, it's barely anything has to do with politics, okay? I do my research for the day. I listen to some stuff that I find interesting, but it's never focused around politics. It's focused around law. It's focused around interesting topics about how to expand your thinking, expand your mind, not narrow it in on just one person and your hatred of that. I think that's really what separates these two growing factions right now. The divide is knowledge seeking and knowledge shrinking. But let's get back to this, because that was a little bit of an aside, but I think it was necessary. Trump attorney Mike Veen chokes up talking about vicious assault by Democrats. Yeah, and I think you can pretty clearly state that. Trump impeachment attorney Mike Veen joined Fox News following a successful acquittal of his client, President Donald Trump, in the sham impeachment trial. During the discussion, Fox News host Griff Jenkins asked him about reports that his home was attacked. Yes, we already seen those pictures, and we'll get rid of that. Attorney Mike Veen responded, "My home was attacked. I'd rather not go into that. To answer your question, my entire family, business, law firm are under siege right now. I don't really want to get into that." He painted traitor on his home, which we seen in the other article there. And yeah, okay, it's pretty easy to find the website of his law practice. The dude has been successful out there. You know what? If he's just going to go back into private life, that's fine. He did a job. We're going to get to a point where these leftists are going to go out and they're going to start attacking any plumbers who put fucking sewage pipes up in a Trump hotel. Like, where's this shit going to stop? If these morons actually watch the impeachment trial as much as I did, I watched, to the best of my knowledge, I watched or listened to the entirety, sometimes multiple times, because Veen was hilarious, and I had to double back to make sure that some of the points that the impeachment managers were making were actually what they were saying, and just have a hearty laugh at the evidence that they were providing. But all of it from Trump's side, it was attacking the charges. It was attacking the evidence being brought up. It wasn't saying that Jamie Raskin is a stupid rat-looking bastard. It wasn't saying that Joe Neguse talks like a Baptist preacher and he needs to stop with the fucking sham act. No, it wasn't personal attacks. It was focused attacks on the arguments at hand, and that's how society used to operate up until, 10 years ago, 5 years ago? I hate it, and I hate it a lot, and I need to call it out more often, because we need to ditch that strategy. If you guys are arguing with anybody out there, don't go for the personal attacks. That's just surface level and stupid. If you're making a joke, that's fine. But know the difference between having an argument, making a joke, personal attacks, and having a logical debate or a substantive argument. But I'll get off my soapbox and we'll go into what the political aftermath of this has been, because there's been some censures a-flowing, my dudes. Representative Meijer, I think this completes the set of the 10 that voted in the House against President Trump, but I'm not too sure. The executive committee of the Calhoun County Republican Party in Michigan voted February 11th to censure Rep. Peter Meijer for his vote to impeach former President Donald Trump, according to the Detroit News. The censure was first of its kind for Meijer, but several other Republicans who voted to impeach Trump had already been censured by state and local parties. 2 days after Meijer's censure, U.S. Senate voted to acquit Trump, clearing the former president of the charges that he incited the mob that attacked the Capitol on January 6th. Yeah, and this is just leading into the thing that I've been pushing out there for a little while. Most of the other intelligent people that at least I listen to and that I value their opinions, populism, whatever you want to call it, the MAGA movement, Trump's movement, Trumpism, whatever you want to call it. Now, that style of the Republican Party is the future. I don't think that there's any proof to suggest otherwise. Why would these state GOP legislators come out and censure somebody for voting against somebody that the entire party hates, okay? If we're going back to neoconism, why would it be so bad to try to destroy the person who would be the only opposing force to returning to that style of policy? It wouldn't be. Liz Cheney wouldn't be facing it. Fred Upton wouldn't be facing it. Now you have Peter Meijer. And I'm pretty sure, if they haven't met already, Tony Gonzalez out there in Ohio, he is definitely going to get censured. Because if you guys remember, Ohio was nearly a 10-point fucking victory for Trump in a swing state. They know where this is going. The state legislatures know. All you have left is just the likes of, Mitch McConnell, Nikki Haley, John Thune, Mitt Romney. Like, do those sound like winners to you? All I hear is just perpetual losers. So I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if this is the censure that goes and completes the set. But I remember that some of the House members that voted for impeachment were also in California. I think one was in New York as well. So perhaps it is the GOP that would censure them in their different states. So we'll look for it. I don't know if it'll make the cut, but if it's important to a video that I'm making, we'll go ahead with that. But as for the two other senators that went and turncoated that weren't expected, sucks to be them. Bill Cassidy and Burr have both been voted to be censured. Bill Cassidy, it was unanimous out in Baton Rouge GOP. I'm not too sure about old Dick Burr here, but we'll read. I know it's a Vox article, but I picked this for a specific reason because we're going to go ahead and touch back on something I previously said and how we're going to wrap things up. So, in the hours after Republican Senators Bill Cassidy and Dick Burr joined 5 other Republican senators in voting to convict former President Donald Trump on an article of impeachment in his role in inciting the January 6th riot. Sure, because an insurrection requires an overthrow of a government, and I don't know about you guys, but did they overthrow Trump or Congress or Senate? Did they even attempt that? No. Was it just a classic riot? Yeah. And that's why the playlist that's on the channel is called Capitol Riot Aftermath. So, yeah. The state Republican parties in Louisiana and North Carolina wasted no time laying down a marker the GOP still belongs to Trump. Oh, man. See, even Vox is calling it. And so many of the other related articles also mention that as well. Or it's just all little shades of TDS because everybody knows that Joe Biden doesn't pull ratings. He doesn't evoke any kind of grassroots support, any kind of corporate support either. For the man who drew 81 million legitimate votes, why does he only have like 6 million Twitter followers? I don't get it. And why isn't Biden featured in any of the related articles on Vox? Vox is a devout leftist website, so literally you'd have to search. Oh, there he is, Biden administration. Before you even get to a Biden picture, you have to go 5 articles down. And the first one up there, Biden to allow asylum seekers Trump kept in Mexico to enter the United States. Now, we could take down that article at a different point, but it just highlights the fact that they're going to go ahead over the course of the next 4 years to keep evoking the name of Trump in order to keep eyeballs on their failing outlets. Because there's no other way. Like, look at, they're stapling Barack Obama on there. They got Mitt Romney in that one, whoever this bitch is. And then they got Biden with the presidential seal there because otherwise he just looks like another decrepit old man. But getting back to the censure of Bill Burr, because we know that the Bill Cassidy vote was unanimous and he's not up until 2026. So unless some really drastic measures get taken, he's not going to get impeached. I guess he would have to get impeached, and there's a way for the state to go back and recall him, but highly unlikely. More or less, he's just going to have to fall in line. Burr was also mostly loyal to Trump throughout his term. I have to fact check that right now. I'm just going to press X it out. But more free than some of his Republican colleagues to vote his conscience, which is just go ahead and vote blue because we know where your spine actually lies. Since he's already announced that he doesn't plan to run for re-election next year. Oh, okay, so vote his conscience just goes ahead and means forego the will of your constituency. Smart move. As Vox's Chinese spy has reported, a recent Vox/Data for Progress, I'm sure this is an unbiased poll, found that 69% of Republicans say they are less likely to support a senator who voted to convict Trump. You could imagine that actual real vote is probably somewhere closer to 80, but yeah, we'll go ahead and say 70%, and that's fine. And we already have one person who's going to step up and try to primary him because his seat, because he's going to be retiring, is going to be up for re-election, and it's in North Carolina, which is a Republican stronghold. Okay, stop trying to make it a swing state. It hasn't gone for a Democrat since Obama, I think maybe 2008. Yeah, I had to check. 2008 was the last time that I went for a Democrat, and it's been hard Republican growing ever since. So, vote your conscience, which just means sell out, because now's the time to cash in so you can try to placate both sides to, make your millions after you're out of office. That's called the Biden model. But anyways, yeah, Mark Walker here. Wrong vote, Senator Burr. I'm running to replace Richard Burr because North Carolina needs a true conservative champion as their next senator. Well, he's not going to be alone. And I put more faith in this Trump than I do with Ivanka Trump trying to primary out Marco Rubio. Listen, I like anybody who's going to try to primary Rubio, especially if they have the Trump last name. But let's not forget, Ivanka is quite a vocal feminist, and she is married to quite possibly the worst person to advise President Trump, Jared Kushner, for as much good as he did with the Middle Eastern peace deals. He wasn't essential to him, but he was a strong player in that entire process. He set up a bunch of bad decisions and a bunch of bad people in a bunch of important positions. And when 2024 rolls around, I better not see that half-dead looking motherfucker creeping around, because that'll be a big disappointment. Well, as you can see here in the headline of this, Laura Trump, biggest winner after impeachment trial, Lindsey Graham says. Yeah, he was on Fox News as well. And Lindsey Graham, I was replying to one of my friends down there in the comments section, and I made a comparison, Lindsey Graham to Ben Shapiro, okay? Follow me on this one. They're both important people to have on your side, okay? When you're a Republican, full-throated support is tough to come by, so even if you can get somebody who's on your side 75% of the time, it's nice to have. Don't trust them, but it is nice to have, because their political spine is very malleable. You can make them take whatever form you need them to. They'll be shaped like whatever container you pour them in. And that's Lindsey Graham when he was up there just nearly crying, saying that, oh, we can't contest the vote. I can't vote my conscience and say that. And then literally every time after he was accosted in the airport, he's been a full-throated fucking Trump supporter. He may as well be putting a fucking MAGA hat on at this point. So I don't know if he's gunning for McConnell's spot, but I think that there's a little bit of that in there, and he's just trying to gauge the room, and he's doing a lot better job than some of those other neocons that are in there. Again, it's nice to have him on his side. Just don't put any faith in him, okay? Former President Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, can now be seen as a contender for the 2022 Senate race, as Senator Richard Burr voted to convict former President Trump in the Senate impeachment trial. This has been speculated for a while. She dropped hints every once in a while, so was Eric Trump, her husband, has also speculated at her run at the Senate. And she's been pressed pretty hard after Burr announced that he wouldn't be seeking another term and that he'd be retiring. And now after this, yeah, the challengers are going to start lining up. And it's a very winnable Republican seat for the reasons that I stated earlier. So it would make the most sense. Certainly I would be behind her because she represents the future of the Republican Party, Senator Lindsey Graham said of Laura Trump, who is the wife of Eric Trump. See, it's not just commentators online. It's not just us anymore. It's somebody who's right in there reading the room and knowing which direction this is going. Burr, who previously chaired the Senate Intelligence Committee, in his case, a lack of intelligence committee, I'll see myself out. The biggest winner, I think, of the whole impeachment trial is Laura Trump. That's a hot take. South Carolina senator said on Fox News Sunday, my dear friend Richard Burr, who I like and have been friends with for a long time, just made Laura Trump almost the certain nominee for the Senate seat in North Carolina to replace him if she runs. And at the end of the day, I've been involved in politics for over 25 years. That's a problem in and of itself. The president is a handful, and what happened at the Capitol on January 6th was terrible for the country. She has not but he's not singularly to blame. Democrats sat on the sidelines and watched the country being burned down for almost a year and a half and not said a damn word. The most Republicans are tired of this hypocrisy. Good point. Good point. Popular point, but a good point. It's hilarious how Burr hopped on the bandwagon for a vote that really didn't matter, but he didn't do it for voting on the constitutionality of it on Tuesday. And McConnell made that same argument in his closing statements after he voted again based on the constitutionality of it not being there. So Burr's just trying to walk the fucking line. I don't care what he has to say because he's going to be gone in 2 years. But yeah, I'm glad somebody who's... like him or not, he's a relatively important Republican, Lindsey Graham, coming out and saying that, the future of the Republican Party is the populist movement. I'm sure that support is only going to continue to grow for that sentiment going forward, as we'll see with the primaries. So I think it could get crazier for that side of the aisle based on just the unhinged nature of the Democrats. Like, okay, there was no rioting last night. There was a little in Portland and Seattle and the suburbs, obviously up there in the Northwest, because that entire place is fucking gone. But yeah, like I pointed out here earlier with the Vox article, it's like a 1 winner and 5 loser from Trump's second impeachment. A Trump criminal probe. Lindsey Graham's latest Fox News Sunday appearance highlights the GOP's identity crisis. SNL's take on Trump's See, it's all about Trump. They just can't let it go. And that leads me to a personal story here at the end. I'm going to keep some names out of the equation because it's not terribly important to this. I had a friend I knew from, oh my gosh, the last time I seen her was probably 5 years ago at this point, but smoking hot. We used to mess around a little bit, and Kids will be kids after all. I haven't thought about her in fucking years at this point, and all of a sudden, I had a dream last night, which is weird in and of itself. Barely have dreams and just normally just knock out and wake up first thing in the morning and go for a run. But yeah, this one was a little bit different. And then I was like, oh, okay, I wonder what she's up to. Took a look, and we used to have really based conversations back in the day before based and red pill was even a thing. And they're talking about people getting free handouts and that not being a great thing, and overall the diverging ways that society is going, that it's all becoming more segregated, that it's not a great place to go. I think with all that set up, you kind of understand where this is going. And I also thought that she was so goddamn hot. And I took a look and started looking at her posts, and it's like, oh, okay, terminal case of TDS. Everyone who's a Trump supporter, don't even bother trying to convince me otherwise. Everybody's racist, sexist, misogynist, homophobic, blah, 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 all that stuff. The big black box for Black Lives Matter, then more Black Lives Matter posts. And the kicker is, okay, go back up and look. I won't give a specific age, but approaching 30 is appropriate. And buddy, I'll tell you, that fucking wall is undefeated. I retract everything that I've thought before. Like, it's pretty easy to look attractive when you're 20 to 25, but when you're a little bit older than that, all of a sudden, and you start looking like a modern day Demi Moore, buddy, I'll tell you, that wall is undefeated. And that's what happens with these people who come down with terminal cases of TDS. Everything is always somebody else's fault. It's not the fact that you just fucking lost your mind. No, it's that orange man who is just a citizen now and has no effect on your life whatsoever. I don't know, I just had to tell somebody that because it was, just probably the greatest thing I've seen in a while, at least since the last time that I watched that Mike Vanderveen interview with CBS News, and I think I'm going to have to go do that after I'm done cutting these videos. So, to wrap everything up, the GOP is looking mighty MAGA, if you ask me, and I hope that things settle down for the great, big peen Mike Vanderveen. I hope that's not the last time we see anything coming out of him, because everything was great. And he deserves a spot on Trump or whoever's team it is in 2024. And with that said, guys, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.